Ice Cube left NWA in late 1989 over a royalty dispute, a fairly mundane conclusion to his tenure as the intellectual force and chief lyricist for the self-proclaimed world's most dangerous group, after only one proper album. Cube's lyrics for "Fuck the Police" had triggered an FBI response earlier that same year, but Cube was still living at home with his parents when Straight Outta Compton was rocketing towards platinum status. He was 20 years old, and he'd just turned down a $75,000 check because he didn't trust Eazy-E and Jerry Heller, who ran the group's label, Ruthless Records. 2 years later, with the release of Death Certificate, he'd be the biggest and most controversial rapper in the world. During the 2 years between Cube's split in late 1989 and the release of Death Certificate, his sprawling, imperfect magnum opus in late 1991, rap music grew up in a hurry, experiencing its pop and punk moments simultaneously. Crossover acts like LL Cool J, MC Hammer, Vanilla Ice, Kid 'n Play, DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, and Digital Underground took rap to the top of the charts and into the heart of suburban multiplexes, while Southern California gangsta rap continued to proliferate in NWA's wake via Above Law, Compton's Most Wanted and Cypress Hill. On the East Coast, Public Enemy's black nationalist oratory and incisive media critiques, which inspired Straight Outta Compton, continued on 1990's Fear of a Black Planet. The Geto Boys took their nightmarish vision of Houston's Fifth Ward to the Hot 100 singles chart, while Miami's 2 Live Crew emerged as unlikely First Amendment pioneers, and regional rap scenes took shape around the country. As rap continued to evolve and mutate during this 2-year period, forces both internal and external worked to validate it as a cultural and economic power. By 1991, the quickly industrializing genre had spawned its own house organ, as The Source, the first magazine to cover rap in its fans' vernacular, and a central node linking the disparate nationwide phenomenon together, was bringing in 7-figure ad revenues after moving to New York City from Boston in 1990. In March 1991, rap was legitimized in a different, and perhaps more significant way. Billboard unveiled a radical, and long overdue, change to its chart methodology. Instead of relying on self-reported sales numbers from retailers, which ignored many independent and urban outlets, the new SoundScan system used actual barcode data to determine sales. The impact for rap was felt immediately. NWA's independently distributed EFIL4 Zagan debuted at 6 months later, Death Certificate, on which Priority spent $18,000 in marketing and which enjoyed no top 40 airplay, outsold Hammer's 4th album Too Legit to Quit, which Capitol spent $1 million promoting, in both LPs' first weeks in stores. Gangsta Rap had won. Death Certificate is not Cube's best album. The 1990s America's Most Wanted is tighter, and the peaks of 1992's The Predator, released after the Rodney King verdict inspired L.A. Rebellion, are higher. But Death Certificate is Ice Cube's most important album, and one of the most essential works in rap history. Released a few months after Cube's star turn as the Dead-Eyed Doughboy in the summer 1991 release Boys in the Hood, and preceded by the irresistible first single, Steady Mobbin', Death Certificate was anticipated like few rap albums had ever been. It had been 6 months since the King tape showed the LAPD gang assaulting a black motorist, and their trial wouldn't start for another 6. 1 million copies of Death Certificate were shipped, and it was certified platinum 2 months after it hit stores. In the shadow of the King video, and with tensions higher than ever between South LA's black citizens and the police, expectations were high for Cube, who at the time co-owned rap's creative and political mantle with Chuck D. With Death Certificate, Cube met them head-on. In a nod toward the vinyl format that was rapidly obsolescing in 1991, Cube split the album into the Death side, a mirror image of where we are today, and the Life side, a vision of where we need to go. Other rap albums had toyed with the concept idea. De La Soul's 1989 LP 3 Feet High and Rising was a big influence on Cube for AMW, skits and all. Yet due to its status, Death Certificate established a permanent lane for conceptual works in rap music, which Nas and the Notorious B.I.G. would capitalize on with their own death-fixated concept albums a few years later. Death Certificate sides serve as an organizing mechanism for Cube's 2 primary subject areas. The Death side is Cube's crass hood storyteller, relating oft hilarious tales about the VD clinic, stopping at your mom's house to take a shit, haranguing a girl's dad about her most intimate activities, even a trip to St. Louis that wound up in a jail stay. Look Who's Burnin', and Steady Mobbin' show Cube's unparalleled skill at lighthearted, detail-rich, slice of South Central life songs. They predict not only the melancholic "It Was a Good Day," but 1995 film Friday, Cube's loving, hilarious ode to a single day in his neighborhood. And yes, some of these songs are stomach-churning, giving up the nappy dugout wavers between slut-shaming and sexual assault, but the "Death Side" concept is designed to allow Cube a performative out. This isn't autobiography, it argues, but a reflection of the worst impulses of his community. Personal mileage, as always, may vary. The life side, conversely, is Cube's op-ed columnist, a racially isolationist embodiment of the album's cover image of Cube standing next to a corpse tagged as Uncle Sam, with all the metaphorical subtlety of a political cartoonist.